Star back again, and in this video I am going to be looking at what I'm calling the real history of the world. And this is the first video in a set of 6 videos, although there's going to be a whole series of videos covering this topic because it's quite a huge topic, and anybody who has any kind of inkling as to the fact that the history of the world has been meddled with, then we're quite interested into why, what was going on, why has it been meddled with, and what actually is the answer. So I've been so excited about this whole topic, so let's not hang about, let's get straight on with it. Hi, and like I said, in these videos I am going to be looking at the real history of the world as it's been guided to me anyway. Now you can believe it or not believe it, it's completely up to you. I'm just going to be giving you the information that's been guided to me. And it's been guided to me through lots and lots of different sources. Sometimes information has come to me in the way of books or videos that have all kind of slotted together and fitted together and made sense. A lot of it obviously has been guided to me by my guides. Now I know this really does take a little bit of a divergence away from what I have been teaching, but I was guided to give this information in this form here because it's helped me understand so much about why what is going on, how this all came about, and also more importantly what to do about it and how this is going to turn out. Who are the dark forces who've been suppressing humanity, and why have they been doing it? Now, like I said, this whole thing was not just brought to me by my guides. A lot of the time my guides brought in other people who've studied this information. It's available in books, it's available in videos. Now this has been many years of this information coming to me and me piecing this information together, and a lot of the gaps have been filled by other people. Now, the major source of my information has been Drunvalo Melchizedek, and of course a fabulous, wonderful David Icke as well, but there's been lots and lots of other information coming in, filling the gaps. Now, I'm not saying I know everything about everything, I don't. There are gaps even as I'm presenting this information, and I will say that as I'm going forward. If I don't feel that I have the full picture, I'll give you the information that's been given to me, and maybe you'd like to join in and weigh in with your views and opinions on that and any information you have as well. Now, a lot of the information coming in from, for example, Drunvalo Melchizedek and David Icke were brought to them through the work of Zecharia Sitchin, who studied lots and lots of different ancient texts, is my understanding anyway, but particularly the Sumerian clay tablets. Obviously there's ancient Hindu texts as well. There's the Nag Hammadi scrolls and the Dead Sea Scrolls. There's lots and lots of information from ancient text that they've been taken from. Now, I do understand that Zecharia Sitchin's work has been called into question and his integrity has been called into question. I can't remember exactly why. I think it was stated that he was a Freemason. I'm not exactly sure. His work has been called into question. However, I know that David Icke looked at his work. I know that he's questioned some of the aspects of his work as well. I know in an interview he said that he actually spoke to Zecharia Sitchin, and one of the issues he had was that he asked Zecharia Sitchin about the reptilians, and apparently Zecharia Sitchin had said to him, don't mention the reptilians. So that's obviously a hole in the work there, but obviously that was filled with the research that David Icke did. Now also I know that Drunvalo Melchizedek took the information from Zecharia Sitchin as well, but he also had his guide Thoth, who collaborated a lot of the story from Zecharia Sitchin, but also expanded lots of different areas and corrected areas where he disagreed with the information that Zecharia Sitchin had given. So I think the real issue is, if Zecharia Sitchin has been compromised, I don't believe that everything that he said was wrong. I believe that there were holes in his information, or some of his information had been inverted. Now, obviously, there is a reason for that. Like David Icke said, a lot of it is to do, of course, with the reptilians. But let's get started with the actual history, and how far back can we go? Where are we going to start? Well, of course, it all started with original consciousness. Pure, unadulterated, eternal, immutable consciousness, love, peace and joy, that decided it was going to create. And it created the physical universe as we know it now. Now, there are lots and lots of different theories about how God created the physical universe, and I'm not going to go into that. A lot of it involves sacred geometry, and I'm not a huge fan of sacred geometry. I'm not denying it, it's just not one of my things, I'm afraid. A lot of these theories do tend to meet at one point, but I'm really not going to go into that there. There is a lot of information out there about how the universe was created, if you'd like to look into that further. The point I want to get to is how infinite consciousness became separate bodies. As soon as the physical universe was created, contrast was created as well, which didn't exist before. Of course, now we had hot and cold and up and down and light and dark and all the other contrasting things, which of course was good and evil. Now, I'm using those terms very, very loosely, but you know what I mean. Good and bad, love and fear. And this, of course, is where we begin. And this, of course, is what we call the separation. Although, of course, in reality, there is no separation. We are still connected to our infinite, immutable, eternal source. That is still what we are. But in a physical body, using our 5 physical senses, it appears that we are not. And as long as we are in these physical bodies on this physical world, that is what we will believe. So we become 3D. Now, of course, there are lots and lots of different levels of separation from the infinite source. Because of the contrast, there are lots and lots of different layers. And of course, at one point, it's going to move as far away from infinite source as it possibly can. And this, of course, is what we're going to be looking at, because that is what this is all about. Now, David Icke calls it the Luciferic experiment. I don't believe he's the only one who calls it this, but I am going to be referring to it as that as well. The experiment in as far as we can get away from source. Now, this is not ideal, obviously. This is an experiment where we play with different levels of existence. Because if we can understand how we got to be so far away from consciousness, or believe we are so far away from infinite consciousness, we can understand how to get back there. And that really is what this is all about. And that's exactly what I'm going to be looking at in my next video. I'm going to be looking at the Luciferic experiment. I'm so glad you joined me here. Thank you for joining me. I hope you're going to join me in that next video. If you'd like to support me, there's a link to my PayPal tip jar below. You can also find my merch, my little love hoodie, If you can't find Star Lightwork Circle on Redbubble, go to my website, starlightworkcircle.com. Go down to the bottom and there are lots of links there to my Redbubble store. I'd also love to see you on my membership site, on my website, where the full version of these videos are. But I hope you've enjoyed this video and I hope you're going to join me in the next video. Thanks for joining me. Bye.